Hey, so I want to put this together and just explain a little bit more what GitOps is to Greenlight. Hopefully this will be useful and beneficial to explain different things that we do at Greenlight and how the GitOps branding comes along. With that, there's a handful of things that every IT organization does. They do these things on a pretty regular basis. In our case, we'll talk about 4 specific things. There is service management, or help desk, if you will. There is event detection and notification, which is system monitoring effectively. There is server patching, and there is server security and compliance. Now, there's a lot of similarities between server patching and security and compliance. So patching here means applying OS level patches that come from the software vendor or from the OS vendor like Microsoft or Red Hat. Server security and compliance takes a deeper look at the actual security of the deployed components on the actual servers, looking at CVEs and things of that nature. So that's a little different piece there to separate the two, in case there's any confusion there. Obviously, there's many more things that IT does, but these are the 4 things that GitOps currently focuses on. The service management help desk was our first solution, if you will, to go to market. So we have those 4 things that are 4 key activities that every IT organization should be taking action on. Where do customers run these solutions, if you will? They run them on premise or they run them in the cloud, right? And the things that they are monitoring, the things that they're patching, the things that they're looking at security and compliance on also exist either on premise or in the cloud. How do they do it today? Today, or at least the problem that we're trying to solve for customers, a lot of customers have manual processes. A lot of customers have disparate processes. A lot of customers have time-consuming audits, and a lot of customers have siloed solutions that maybe work fine for a database, but not for WebLogic or for the web tier folks. A lot of times their processes today are complex. Having to get 15 people involved in order to run a server patching, security and compliance audit and remediation task. All of that complexity leads to a slow solution ultimately at the end of the day. What customers strive for in an ideal world, most customers these days are striving for something that is as code. So infrastructure builds as code, or infrastructure as code is a common term we hear. Application deployments as code, right? So automating the application deployment process from start to finish in an as code manner. And then leveraging code repositories to manage those things. Patch application as code, change management. Ideally, the best change management processes leverage an automated release process. And that automated release process effectively is an as code release process effectively. These as code mentalities are version controlled. They provide an ease of rollback, and they are typically very fast, much faster than human manual processes. The other thing that I want to mention here is just a little bit of a play on words. Here we talk about version controlled, and when we say version controlled, the implications there is that it's stored in a source code repository. One of the most common source code repositories that are out there is GitHub, GITHUB. So that is a little bit of a branding play on words, if you will, that we've done here with GitOps. If you take these 4 things that I drew boxes around here on this whiteboard, you take literally the 4 things that IT does. You take on-premise, you take cloud, and you take this ideal method to delivering these solutions, and you effectively end up with GitOps. So what is GitOps? What does it actually stand for? GitOps is Greenlight IT Operations Services. And we do this for customers in 2 methods. We do this on-premise. We give an on-premise platform for these capabilities, and we also give a SaaS platform for these capabilities. So if you take these 4 capabilities, again, where we classify and go to market with as enterprise service management, enterprise event management, enterprise server patch, and enterprise server compliance, those 4 capabilities effectively, GitOps provides platforms to give customers those capabilities to their organization. Now, do we actually work the help desk in service management? Do we actually put butts in seats, if you will, for the network operations center or the NOC for event management? Do we actually put patch schedules and whatnot together for server patching and server compliance? No, we don't actually do that. We provide the platform that gives customers an easy access to these capabilities. If you look at these four critical capabilities, the customer who tries to do this themselves spend lots of money, so lots of time, effort, energy, resources to get these capabilities stood up in their organization. So GitOps aims to provide these capabilities to customers in an extremely fast fashion with automated deployments of the solutions on-premise or automated solutions or automated deployments for new customers in our SaaS environments as well. So speed and time to market, time to value are big key factors here for GitOps in and of itself. So let's dive a little bit more into what these four pieces of capability are. We have a service management platform, right? Enterprise service management. This is the system of record for a lot of IT organizations. This helps manage IT operations. It is your general IT help desk solution. It provides an end user portal to not only IT, but from an enterprise service management perspective, this end user portal could be leveraged for HR, could be leveraged for facilities, security operations. You could have a portal for retail consumables or other things of that nature, right? When it comes kind of back to the core use case that originated service management and just the source, if you will, or the legacy, if you will, for enterprise service management, we go back to the IT service management world. In the IT service management world, which is a very strong use case and is a very commonly used use case for our service management platform, that provides customers with the ability to do incident management. So incidents are things that are critical to the organization that need to be tracked, and people need to be aware of their ongoing, right? Something is broke, something needs to be fixed, website's down. Those are things that are an incident that folks need to be tracking and reporting out for audit reasons a lot of times. Change management. How does an organization facilitate change to their data center infrastructure, to their applications? How do they manage that? And they have to have a system of record a lot of times that have strict audit and compliance requirements around the recording and the reporting of those changes to the environment. Problem and root cause analysis is also included in our IT operations platform here, knowledge management. So this provides the core IT capabilities, including a configuration management database, or CMDB for short. These are all common things that every IT organization has to operate, have to operate, whether they do them well or they do them, potentially on paper or just via email or in spreadsheets. Every IT organization does these in some form or fashion. Furthermore, every company has forms of IT, HR, facilities, security operations, and other things that are critical to their business silo. And our enterprise service management platform gives customers the capability to provide request management across all of those spaces, if you will. It's also possible on our platform to create custom modules or custom capabilities. So that's also an expansion use case as well. The second capability that we provide, enterprise event management. This is effectively a consolidation and AI platform that we provide. So in general, IT organizations who manage lots of infrastructure, they typically have what we classify as domain data collectors. So these are data collectors. These are things that are actually at the lowest level, actually monitoring the database, monitoring table sizes, monitoring transactions coming in, monitoring statistics about the database, typically provided by a vendor of the database, right? So Microsoft has tools to monitor their databases, Oracle has tools to monitor their databases, and so on and so forth, right? Same thing for the network team, right? Cisco has tools, there's also other common tools out there on the marketplace to monitor networks. OS, same sort of thing, right? RHEL has monitoring solutions. There's open source monitoring solutions. There's proprietary vendor provided monitoring solutions for OS's applications, user experience, et cetera, right? So all of these spaces have domain specific data collectors that can be used to collect data from them. And then we also have log collectors that sit out there in most IT organizations, right? So these are security logs. These are OS logs. These are application logs that get collected and sent somewhere, right? But then what do we do with those things, right? How do we get them together, right? We want to aggregate all of those things together into a single pane of glass. And why would we do that? Why does anybody care about getting database metrics and events coupled together with OS metric and events coupled with application layer events? The primary use cases primarily go to cross-domain correlation and predictive analytics across domains, right? So we can start to correlate database metrics against application metrics, right? When the database is slow, usually the application is slow. That's a pretty common correlation that people can see. But what about the network? How do you know that network device ABC or some random network device out there is impacting your production environment? You may not know if you don't have a cross-domain correlation aspect there. Predictive analytics is another one. The more data we collect, the more data we have at our disposal, the more accurate predictions can be. When are we going to run out of this? When is this situation going to become a problem, right? Those sorts of things can all be handled from a predictive capacity as well. Another very common use case that we see in this event management, consolidation, and AI platform solution is what we call automated event correlation. This is effectively noise reduction, right? We have all of these domain data collectors, and we have hundreds, if not thousands of potentially proactive alerts coming together, but how do we know which ones are correlated together? Sure, we can sit down and we can say for every application, we can go through the cycle of all 1,000 applications that an organization has deployed and say, this database, ABC, is for this application 1, 2, 3, right? And now we know that those two things are correlated. But realistically, that level of effort is unattainable inside of IT organizations. Every IT organization is being asked to do things faster with less people. So we provide a capability here for automated event correlation, where the system automatically determines which events are correlated together based on a number of things, an AI that sits underneath it and machine learning, and correlates those things together. So you take multiple events and produce a single actionable event that effectively acts as the parent for all of the child events that were correlated underneath it. This is all driven effectively by a machine learning platform that sits underneath it, and it's something that we bring to market with this capability. Having a single consolidated single pane of glass of aggregation, if you will, allows for a single feed to external systems such as enterprise service management. It also allows a single place to go for outage window management. So for instance, if you have a technical outage weekend for a set of servers, you can go to the aggregated platform where you can turn off or at least suspend all monitoring or suppress all monitoring for that set of servers for that window only. Once the time window is over, monitoring is resumed, unsuppressed, if you will, and allowed to flow through into the system for actionable events again. This is something that honestly gets overlooked quite frequently for customers when they're going through change windows. You'll start executing on a change to bring a system down for whatever reason, and suddenly you'll get 17 alerts come in and phone calls going off to your on-call person saying, hey, the application's down, right? So this is one way to help prevent that. We do all of these capabilities in what we classify as a collect once, store once data repository or data lake. It's a columnar-based data store called Vertigo that sits underneath the platform and helps us drive the analytics and machine learning. Of course, for all of these things, we have dashboards and reporting. So cross-domain dashboards, cross-domain reporting across all of these things as well. Third capability, enterprise server patching, and for that matter, remediation, again, is a platform that provides customers the ability to have an orchestrator of patching, where this platform can do patch scanning, patch remediation. It can check on vulnerabilities, score them, and give dashboards around them. It provides a workflow based SLO driven patching schedule and patching capability here. So, if a certain server needs to be patched within a certain time period of the OS vendor patches being released, we can make that happen automatically. And furthermore, this is all done agentless. So there's not an agent that has to get deployed to all pieces of infrastructure. It's all done agentless through common protocols and common access points that are available to everybody. The fourth capability we bring is server security and compliance, right? So enterprise server security and compliance and remediation for that matter. Again, this is very similar, as I mentioned up front, to the server patching component. Of course, we have scanning, we have discovery of security vulnerabilities, and we have remediation for those things, right? So very similar to the patching aspect, we have dashboarding. Of course, we have the workflow-driven SLO remediation, and of course, this is agentless, just like the patching. The primary difference here is that the server patching is intended primarily for OS-related patches. So regular patches that come out from the OS vendor, Microsoft releases patches every Tuesday, for instance. I think it's still Tuesday anyway. And once a month, those patches need to be aggregated together and released out to all the servers that run Windows 2016 or whatever the patch is for. Same thing on the Red Hat side, right? Red Hat's releasing patches for RHEL, Red Hat Enterprise Linux all the time. And we need to be able to aggregate those things together and get those applied to the systems in order to keep the systems up to date and ideally vulnerability free. From a security compliance perspective, there's also this concept of a critical vulnerability patch. Effectively, a CVE gets published out on a common CVE repository that's out there. We can pull those things in at the time of publish out there and start to scan the environment, start to identify what in the environment is missing this patch. Maybe it has this vulnerability and needs to be remediated. We then subsequently generate reporting for that. If configured, we can automatically remediate that patch. So this is huge. When there is a 0-day vulnerability that comes out and it's out there and everybody knows about it and hasn't had a chance to go through the formal OS patching cycle, a lot of times there are hot fixes, there are hot patches that come out that need to get applied to a ton of systems all at once. And this solution helps achieve that and helps provide that capability to the customer's IT organization to get there. Hopefully that was beneficial. Quick run through, I don't even know how long of a run through it was, but probably about 10 minutes of what GitOps is and some of the capabilities that it provides to our customers.